Shades on. The reality comes. Shades on. Knowledge wisdom.
Well, there it is. Hey, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? On my end, it looks like you can. But nonetheless, let me just tell you about today's show. I was sitting here at the house and I'm just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to talk about today? And I couldn't think of anything to talk about. So I was like, all these random thoughts were going through my head and going through my mind. So, y'all, I just decided to come up with, hey, rants on real issues. Rants on random issues, which I'd like to say real issues, but I didn't want the flyer to be too busy. But nonetheless, that's what it's about, ranting on real issues. And of course, my guest, Reggie Ruffin, for some reason, is not on here once again, but that's okay. Y'all, I promise you, it is always an issue for me. And I don't know if it's just me or what the problem is, but I promise you, I do the right thing every time. I just don't understand it. He's supposed to be on here, but I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know. But nonetheless, we had some very interesting rants that we wanted to talk about today. And I'm calling him now. So let me see if he can get on here, because I think when you're talking about certain issues, because we both have we're both loudmouths per se, and we both speak out loud a lot. And people don't like that too much. They don't like it too much at all. But when you live in your reality, it is what it is, y'all. It's the truth that you may not want to see. That's why I wear the sunglasses, because it is truth you may not want to see. But one thing about it, you're going to hear it. And I promise you, I have learned to love me all by myself. So if I have no one standing with me, as long as I got God on my side, who can dare be against me? Who? Not many. But nonetheless, I'm going to press on. Press on. Because it is definitely, it's definitely hard. Especially with you all knowing my story. And it seems like everywhere I go, either people have something to say about me, or they're looking at me in a way to where, is she really real? For real? Does she really, really, really mean what she's saying? Can she bag it up? Y'all have no idea the oppositions that I'm getting from all types of angles. It means I promise you, it seems like every time I try to do good, evil appears to be better. And y'all, I am just sick of this foolishness that we got going on out here. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Oh, y'all, I'm so sorry. My phone is beeping and asking for something to be sent, and it has been. But nonetheless, here we are once again, always something. And I hate to keep saying this, but y'all, it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating for me, extremely. I try so hard. I do everything I can to show people that I'm kind, I'm trustworthy. I'm trying to do what is right, not just for me, but for all people. And I want to give up, but I can't, because God won't allow me to. That's not how he operates. When he has chosen you for an assignment, I don't care how rough it gets, you have to keep going. Just one moment. Mr. Ruffin, I am live. Yes. What?
It's not doing that at all.
You can't get the link. I tried sending it to Messenger. I've tried sending it to your messages.
Right. And normally it does that. And I guess it just goes back to what we said. We got some gremlins up in here.
Well, you're live, so they can hear us talking. You just can't be seen. But we'll just keep it moving. I'm not sure. Do you have another source that you would like for me to send a link to?
I guess we can discuss that off the air. Right now, it's just technology can sometimes be such a big pain in the neck.
Okay. Do you want to try it again, or it's not doing anything? It's not letting you do anything.
We can. You sent the link to my messages, right?
I send it to your messages and messenger.
All right. Let me hang up and try it again. And if it don't work, I'll get you right back. Okay. Y'all wonder why I share this? Because I'm the reality coach. I want y'all to see this is some real stuff here. These phones work when they want to work. But when you are trying to put in work, real work that's going to give people some hope, some help, and some healing, all types of oppositions happen. And y'all, I want to give up so bad, but I can't. But anyway, there are some topics that I want to have a little bit of a rant on, and I really want him back on here because we discussed them together, and we both know why we're saying what we're saying. Because a lot of times people don't want to hear the dark, ugly truth, and very seldom do we face our reality. Very seldom. Let me see what's going on. This one. This is ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna do this thing old school.
Okay. No problem. We'll just keep it going.
Right.
But we do know the topic. Rants on random issues. And I'm certain you got your sunglasses on because you know this is some truth that people don't want to hear, but they got to. People don't want to see, but they gonna hear it.
Yeah.
Now, well, let's get into it. Let me put these sunglasses on, y'all. Here we go. This is some real truth that you may not want to see, but you're going to hear. And I like sharing these things because as time goes on and once God opens up the floodgates of heaven to give me what is needed to produce a real show and have people that can run the show and do things, then they're the specialists. They'll know how to combat these type of situations because I don't seem to know how to do it. And it hasn't worked, and neither does he. But eventually, I want y'all to see what God does when you believe. I'm a believer in God. I don't know what anybody else believes in, but that's who I believe in. And that's why I believe I'm where I'm at today, because of God and his wonderful presence in my life. Y'all, so I want y'all to see growth. I want you to see, you may start out at the bottom, but keep on the trucking. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You will eventually get where you're supposed to be. As long as you take my Father with you. Now, I don't know who your father is, but my Father works out wonderful. But nonetheless, Reggie, here we go. Today's topic again, rants on random issues with special guest Reggie Ruffin of Just Cause Coalition. And Reggie, why did you come up with Just Cause? Let's just talk about that for a minute. Since we're talking about random issues, y'all, here we go. I'm taking these sunglasses off. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Why did you come up with Just Cause?
Well, because of my issues with the courts, we're dealing in a society now that people can just make random, baseless, foibled accusations against you. And instead of normal investigating, doing the process and everything, they will just take you, arrest you, book you, ruin your life, turn your life upside down, and figure it out that way. And then they threaten you with years in prison if you don't take this deal. And we've seen that as the norm now, that they would rather just go through the process of trying to persecute you more than prosecute, and will sit there and make that their avenue for trying to seek justice, when justice is supposed to be about trying to really process, the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened in my case, 2 times back in the past decade, I was a crazy woman named Monique Sampson came over to the table of my house threatening me over some mess between her and her alleged boyfriend at the time.
Okay, hold on one second. And the only reason why he's able to mention her name, because this is public record. Am I correct? It's public record. So if you hear a name being mentioned, it is public record. You can go down to the records building and ask for public records if you want to fact check any of this information. And I suggest you do that. Don't always just take people's word. Start fact checking people. That's what you call investigative fact checking, investigative reporting, investigative work. That's what it's entailed. Okay, so go ahead, Mr. Ruffin.
So what ended up happening was I got arrested, and was charged, despite the fact she had multiple convictions on her record. They took me in, despite the fact she committed 4 felonies that particular night. And and they put me through the ring. So I ended up having to go through the ringer of almost a whole year of being wrongfully charged. They charged me with deadly conduct, which of course the charges got dismissed eventually because it was self-defense.
Okay, what did deadly conduct, was that a misdemeanor? A felony? Was it a class 1, 2, 3? What kind of felony was it?
Class A.
Class A felony. Is that the highest you can get?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's like the next step below attempted murder. Or aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. It's sort of like a cross between those two.
Wow.
Like, terrible. Okay. Anyhow, I eventually did get the case dismissed. Now, here's the thing. They had released me without charging me, but then they held on to the case because when I started calling about getting our property returned, they didn't want to return the property. Not only did they, we had a couple of shotguns. My dad had a shotgun, and I had a shotgun. But mine was the only one used with only one shot fired. So why would they take both people's guns from me? The other one was secured and put away. But they took it as an opportunity to steal under the cover of authority. And so when we complained about it, I even went as far as, the police kept saying, we're going to hang on to them. There's nothing you can do about it. So when we called the mayor involved, got the mayor involved, and then next thing you know, you turn around, the grand jury is now sending you something, and then turn around, I get indicted. So I had to get an attorney.
Who was the mayor at that time?
Dwayne Caraway.
Oh, wow. Didn't he end up in something?
Well, yeah, that comes later, but that's another story. But yeah,
no, I'm just wanting to point out, since we're talking about random rants. Well, let me tell you what you do to others. If you ain't doing it in the right spirit and what is right, eventually it will come back on you.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Oh, hey, that's the whole purpose. So the sad part about it is that then, of course, Craig Watkins was the DA at the time, so he's Mr. Exoneration, Mr. Fair Play, Mr. Trying to help trying to help the minorities and everything. And guess what? Yeah, he helped all right. Helped try to get me convicted. And so even after all this was over with, I had a girlfriend at the time while I was going through all this. So finally I got the case dismissed, and I you know, like, hey, I can go back to my job at Union Pacific Rail. Went down there, filled out the application. Next thing I know, I get pulled off the line. They're telling me that the case that I was indicted for is now an active felony warrant. So I had to go back to the house.
Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. You're saying the case that was dismissed against you.
Right.
This is the one they're saying was an active felony warrant now.
Right. They're
okay.
claiming felony warrant. So I'm sitting up there going like, I know y'all smoking crack or something. Right. I know the case got dismissed. I had an attorney that got the case dismissed. So we go back down there. Sure enough, the case is clearly dismissed. Show them the case number. Show them the same thing. Show them the dismissal letter. So they decided, well, since you might be dismissed, it might be dismissed, you might be cleared of it, but for someone to commit a crime like that, something must have been wrong, and I still got denied my credentials. So you got to have a special permit to operate on the rail yards. So fast forward another year after that, girlfriend I was with, we get into an argument over the fact that her at the time 8-year-old child went in the kitchen and got a steak knife. It was on Halloween day, and went out on the playground playing like he was Jason Voorhees and started swinging a steak knife around and almost cut a 6-year-old kid. Parents come back up there and told me about it. So I told them I would handle this. So so I got a belt and I whooped him for being out there on the playground.
Okay, y'all. For you people who don't understand whipping, that's our term. That's a black, but that means he spanked him, gave him a spanking.
Right. But however, she didn't like the fact that I did that, and I told her what happened. So I told her, we got to argue about it. So she's gonna try to berate me and curse me out in front of her son. And I said, well, where I come from, adults run the house, not kids. So I moved out. So in retaliation for me moving out, she called police knowing I just got a felony case that was hanging over my head dismissed. So here comes the police again. And the police come back with that same MO. And now they're going to try to charge me with injury to a child. So I'm going like, how you going to charge somebody with injury to a child when the child had no injury? Because you and I both know, like, us growing up, we'd have did something like that. Yeah, we'd have been injured for real.
Right. Okay. So let's fast forward. I'm trying to get you to tell us. So is all of this the reason why you started Just Cause?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead.
After that had happened, I had to go a whole year to get that guy. I had to go to trial on that case because they kept trying to get me to take a plea deal. They kept trying to force a plea deal. They had went from offering me 10 years in prison to 10 years probation. 10 years probation went to 5. 5 went to 3. Next thing you know, they would offer me 30 days to further adjudicated probation if I take the plea deal.
Okay, so now why was it that now this is familiar to me because right. As you know, I'm still fighting for my son, the alleged Dallas Uptown serial rapist. Now I can say the wrongfully convicted man because DNA clears him. But before we went to trial, it was like they got angry, and they meaning the defense attorney, the prosecutor, all of the players that were in the courtroom, they were angry that my son did not take the plea deal. Even though they tossed life in his face, they did everything that they could to get us to take that plea deal. Why do they stress plea deals so badly?
Because a plea deal is an automatic conviction.
But wait a minute. But it says if I take a plea deal, it won't. Some of them even say it won't even go on your record. It'll be expunged, or it won't even go on your record. You won't be in no kind of trouble. So
that's a lie.
Oh,
that's a bold-faced lie.
Oh,
yeah. And that's one that I have been. That's one of the reasons. Like I said, that you asked the reason why I started Just Cause. That's the reason right there. Because people have been lied to. Because all they want to do is clear their docket. They want to clear their list, and then of course make themselves look good. We got another conviction. We got another person off the street. We got another person that's going to be slave now, doing community service work. They're going to be having to pay money to the courts for his so-called crime.
So all of this, see, people, I want y'all to understand, all of this is a snowball effect. When they get one over here, they can clear off a whole lot of stuff. That gives the DA numbers to look like the crimes have been solved. It makes the police look good. That makes it just makes so many people look good, even if they ain't doing no good.
Because like the DAs and prosecutors say, well, I have a 90-something%, I got a 98% conviction rate. I got a 99.4% conviction rate. You know, I mean, Craig Watkins bragged about his conviction rate. So I guess out of the two cases I got, I guess I'm the one that brought the percentage down to 0.4, because I fought both cases and won, because I refused to be a convicted felon, especially over me standing up for myself.
And so with you doing that, why? Okay, people talk about me, they really do. They think I don't know, but I'm not stupid. They tell me, oh, she's just an old whiny mother. She's just this and that and other. But because you knew you didn't do what they're saying. So you took the route of I'm fighting. And because I know my son, I'm not saying he's perfect. And I'm not saying a woman cannot be raped just because she's in the prostitution business, the escort business, whatever you want to call her. I'm not saying she can't be raped, but I know the character of my son.
Right.
And I still went to the trial so I could make sure that I wasn't a mother in denial about her child. After sitting in that trial, hearing you were there with me, sitting in that trial, just hearing the evidence was enough to let me say, these people are crazy.
Exactly.
They're evil. This is pure evil. So I see that you've experienced the same evil.
Exactly.
Which is called malicious prosecution. That's why that's on that flyer, malicious prosecution.
Right. That's what that is. And that's exactly what that is. And, you know, the sad thing about it is, you know, when I started Just Cause, it was mainly to inform people like us as to what you're going to be dealing with when you get down there. I try to talk to clients, tell them what's going on, refer them to attorneys, because people start getting the misconception that I'm trying to teach somebody how to fight the law without an attorney, which is like, I mean, that's like trying to fight the Indians without a gun. You know, it's impossible. It can't be done. You have to have an attorney, but you have to at least know what you're getting into and what you're going to be dealing with the attorney. Because when they do all that legalese talk and this, that, and the third, you need to kind of have a half an idea of what it is that's going on with you, because it's your life.
And a side note, I don't mean to cut you off, but a side note too, an attorney is only going to work as hard as you work most of the time. I'm not saying they won't do their job, but when an attorney now I'm gonna tell you, the attorney, Mr. Bradley Collins, is representing my son. I know he's excited to have a client, although my son is in prison, my son got somebody out here working hard with Mr. Collins. So Mr. Collins is even more determined to ensure, not that he's not determined with all of his cases, because he's that kind of attorney, but I'm just saying, he knows that if he needs a piece of paper, a piece of bubble gum, whatever he needs, he knows that this one client, because she's working hard, because she believes in her son, she gonna come through.
Right.
So y'all, it helps to know this stuff.
They coming through with those payments.
Well, let me tell you. Hold on though. Before an attorney finishes anything, you're gonna have an attorney of Mr. Bradley J. Collins level. You're gonna be paid in full, okay?
Exactly.
Because some of y'all won't pay now. Don't play like y'all don't know. I couldn't get mad at him because, you know, we are notorious for getting stuff and saying we're going to pay a payment and we get the stuff like furniture. You'll go get that furniture and put it in your house, sit on it and wear it down and promise to pay the people. And then by the time they get ready to come pick it back up, they can't get it because it's no good. And they've lost out all the way around because we don't get now. I ain't mad. Y'all don't act like y'all don't know.
Exactly.
That's why Finger Hut is no longer in business. Everybody had that bad clock and those birds on the wall and the Finger Hut company tiles.
Is Renaissance still open?
And that's another one too. Renaissance and Rent to Own, all them gone. We did them in, y'all. Don't act like y'all don't know. So these people have to have their money up front. I get it. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Ruffin. So you people are saying that you're trying to teach people how to fight the law without an attorney. Well, that's just crazy to even think that. But you know what? That's what we do best. You know, Mr. Ruffin, when you out here trying to do something good, especially for people that look like us.
Right.
We are so awful to one another. What happened to the camaraderie that the people of color used to have? The NAACP used to stand for something. Now it is a freaking joke in some chapters, not all of them, but some of the chapters that
I had to walk that one back on NAACP in Mississippi when I told them that in Texas, the NAACP stand for Negroes Always Accepting City Payments, and so she got offended by that. I said, well, you know, if you live where I live, you see what I'm talking about.
That part.
Right. Live where I live, then talk. See, I'd have been on that merry-go-round.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's the other reason why there's a just cause, because we can no longer depend on the alphabet game to help us out. There's the NAACP, the ACLU, the
LBQTZ.
Yeah, well, them too. But the thing is, you have to sometimes make things for yourself because nobody else doing it for you. And guess what? I mean, they're not kicking out a lot of grant money for civil rights anymore either.
Well, wait a minute, y'all. Let me put a disclaimer here. Now, we ain't saying that those groups don't help you. We're not saying they don't help you. We're just saying that the help that we have went to them for, we didn't receive it. And it could be that they don't believe in it. They don't care about it, whatever the case may be, or they didn't have the time, none of that. We're not saying that you can't go and get the help. We're just saying our experiences.
That's the point I'm about to get to. One of the problems that you can't get anything from a lot of these groups because why? They're overbooked and they understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're sitting up here in Texas has about over 150,000 people in custody, in the prison systems, in jails, waiting for cases, for pending cases, all of these things. So when you go to some of these organizations, a lot of them can't, you know, they want to help, but they can't help because they got like 10, 15,000 other people waiting in line trying to get their day in court, trying to get their conviction overturned. Everybody don't have the ability to find a Bradley Collins that can help them get their cases appealed the proper way and try to get their freedom.
Well, let me tell you, people better get to know my daddy. People better get to know my daddy because, honey, when that attorney, when Mr. Josh Healy looked at me and popped his collar right after my son had gotten a life sentence, he popped his collar. And I'm saying his name because this is what he did. And if he didn't want me to say it, he shouldn't have did it to me. And I'm telling you what I know. Let me put these shades on because this is some real truth you may not want to see, but you get ready to hear. Josh Healy, a Warren and Associates, after my son, got a life sentence underneath their defense counsel, he popped his collar at me and looked me dead in my face and said, don't even worry about an appeal. Your son ain't never getting out. I said, But before I said anything, I looked at him and I popped my collar and said, "You don't know my father." So just as cocky as that demonic presence that was in front of me was, me and my angelic self was just as bold. And look at what God is doing now. Y'all ain't got to believe. I know I believe. Because what's going on with my son's case, like he just said, to properly handle it, everybody don't get a Bradford Collins. Because they're very few. I don't know. I ain't never seen another one here. Maybe there's one or two that I don't know about. But I'm telling you, when Dallas County got ready to do this with Draylon Patterson, it was like one day we went in the courtroom, it was like they was having a class. There were students over there with notepads, taking notes and watching this debauchery of injustice happen. And Reggie Ruffin of Just Cause was there, and he was looking at me like, this is what goes on. And I'm in astonishment. He was telling me step by step, y'all, the corruption that I did not want to believe. He was telling me.
And it's very hard to get people to acknowledge that everything that's happening to them, it's not by accident. This is by design. I know, Dorothy, and I know you know as well as I do just how dismayed and befuddled you were, because but I said everything. The evidence is not going to be presented the right way. The storyline on the whole case was not even presented right. They had, then the people talk about getting a trial, get a jury of your own peers. Yeah. Think about the next time. Well, I did on my case, I got a trial by judge.
But Reggie, before you keep going, you told me when you looked over there at that jury, you said there's no way that should be happening.
Right.
You said it, and I'm looking at, and y'all, I'm just like most typical Black folks. Oh, he ain't really no attorney, so I hear you, but whatever. And I promise y'all, everything that this man from Just Cause Coalition told me as it was happening before my face, he was telling me. But y'all, I didn't want to believe it. But I'm sitting there watching this. He told me, if I were you, I would not do a trial by jury. I would do a trial by judge. And the reason he told me that is because it helps eliminate malicious prosecution. It makes the judge be a judge because it falls on him. But when you have all these other players, the judge can just sit back and do really nothing like
popcorn and watch the show.
And that's what he kept saying. And I kept looking at him, and y'all, let me tell you, as it went on through, he was even astonished that my son was literally, this is what they told my son. This is his defense attorney. Man, if you don't get on the stand, we ain't got no case. Reggie and a lot of other guys that have had problems with this system said there's no way the defense attorney should be telling your son to get on the stand or else we don't have a case.
Right.
Reggie said it along with other people. Me and my son, we don't know, we ain't criminals. And neither is Reggie, but he know how criminals in the system do people that don't know how criminal minded they are.
Right.
And when he got on the stand, Reggie was kind of deflated. He was like, oh man. But Reggie called it, y'all, along with 2 or 3 other people. They called it. Adonis King, he called it. Stephen Mayfield called. All these people that know how Dallas does, they called it from day one. But guess what else they all said? It ain't gonna stick. It's gonna get reversed. Because it was.
The thing about it is when you try to do the appeal and you try to get it reversed, they know how long it's going to take too. Meanwhile, the state of Texas gets free slave labor for the entire time that you're going to, and then you're going to have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to try to get this wrong overturned.
And the patience. Oh my God. The patience. Oh my God. Y'all, we've been waiting forever. And I'm just like, now there are people that went before my son and after my son. Their stuff has already been decided. It's done. It's over. But what Reggie said at Just Cause Coalition, he said to you all a few minutes back, to get the appeal done properly, you need to have an attorney.
Right. Because they're going to be looking at all of these things. I mean, the federal courts, state court, district courts, all of them, they get so many appeals that are handwritten and done by the convicted or by some jailhouse wannabe attorney that's down there for a life sentence, never gonna get out of jail, but
or somebody walking the streets that want to be an attorney just because they got an activist group. They think they're attorneys.
Yeah, them too. Yeah, I can't stand those type of people. So anyhow, with that being said, you got to go through this nerve-wracking process while you're getting older and more distant from you. Your ex-wife now looking good for somebody else. Your parents getting older and you're afraid they don't die before you get out. All these things are happening. That's pressure every day. And then, just like what we saw with over the weekend with Derek Chauvin, you don't know when you walk around that corner, somebody got a shark waiting on you.
Now, for the people that don't know who that is, who is that?
Derek Chauvin is the man who arrogantly had his knee on George Floyd's neck, put his hands in his pocket and posed for the world to let him know this is how you kill one of us, one of them citizens.
Mm-hmm.
He does that, and now he's in prison paying for it, and now he's paying for it the hard way. So every now and then he has to be reminded about the fact he's in prison by catching a shank, which now he's going to probably go back in the population. They'll probably send him to another facility and hope that his luck pans out there. But he's got a long 20 years to deal with.
And y'all, let me tell you this stuff, and let me tell you, don't think that I'm fighting hard for my son because I'm ready for him to come home, because these systems, they all kind of work together. My son, like I told him, son, I can work on the outside for you, but I can't work in there because I'm not in there. So now my son has had to educate himself on how to fight them in there, because there's corruption in there with the people that are in charge.
Right.
I mean, where does it stop? The same treatment he's getting out here, he's getting it in there, but then they'll take him and put him on a 60-day phone restriction or whatever they do, however they do what they do. And
they're just playing with their head.
And he ain't even did what they're saying. He's like, Mom, I don't even get to go to court. What is wrong with these people? He said they lied on me in the first place. I'm here wrongfully. And now I'm here and they're doing some of the same stuff and I don't even get to go to court. What is this? I said, son, the best thing I can tell you to do, you better get smart. Y'all remember Get Smart? You better get smart and figure out how to fight those people in there. File your paperwork that goes along with that system. See, y'all, that's another whole system. So make sure you tell your loved one, they get in the system. There's rules in that system. They got to go to the federal courts then. They don't get to go around over here to the state courts because they got to go to the federal courts. So they got to figure out how to file all that stuff. They got to fill out custody. Classification. It's just too much. But anyway, I don't want to keep, okay. But anyway, Reggie Ruffin, I want to say to you, thank you for sticking with me. And I'm telling you, when this is all done and said, I don't care what people say about Reggie Ruffin and Just Cause. Y'all, anytime I have called this man, he's been here to listen and give me hope when I was completely hopeless. Give me strength when I was at my weakest. Picking me up and telling me keep fighting. Yeah, I know it's long.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah, they wrong. Yes, they are. But you can't give up, Miss Patterson. You can't. No. So y'all, it's ground is people that I won't even call it grass. It's root people. Because see, they grow. This is a root pit person here. He's growing with me. He's helping me grow. He's already went through some of the things. So y'all, I've dealt with so many organizations that say they want to help.
Right.
But then they get in here and they start trying to figure out how to dismantle or discredit The attorney, you're not even an attorney. And you got the nerve to say so. Go to law school and learn jurisprudence of the law. Learn the law. Because obviously you don't understand the law. Maybe you don't learn what you learn, but you don't understand. But Reggie Ruffin, y'all, I've got proof where he has told people, I'm not an attorney. I can only advise you, but this is some advice from me, from what I have learned. But on the other hand, you need to get you an attorney.
Right. The motto is know the law before the law knows you.
And he has told me that time, and I don't know why I don't know. I didn't even say it, but just cause. But I'm telling y'all, this man, if you need a person that's gonna stay with you from beginning to the end, you may not like him some days. He may get on your last nerve. He may be abrasive. He may be rude. He may be insensitive. He may be whatever you may think. But at the end of the day, he's sensitive. He's positive.
Could use obnoxious too, but that's another time.
Well, that too. But one thing about it, the one thing I love about Mr. Reggie Ruffin of Just Cause, he 100% real. What he say to me, about me, for me, or with me, he can repeat it to you, for you, with you, and about you. I've dealt with so many two-faced people in this business. I have never seen so much debauchery and money grabbing people. Well, let me tell y'all something about money. Money ain't gonna be nothing because it ain't gonna be enough to sustain the wrong that you've done. And like I told Mr. Warren at October 31st, at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. This is not my message. I know it appears to be crazy. I sound crazy. I sound a mess. But I'm telling you right now, Mr. One, God said, these three things must be made known and manifested and understood by the jury. DNA, mixture, potential. Y'all, you want to see it? Inbox me. I send you the email. What did he do? He ignored it. And now, what are the three things hunting him?
Well, that along with just the utter incompetence of how this whole thing was handled, because one thing about appointed attorneys, and I'm not going to slam them all because, I had a court-appointed attorney in my case. One of the advantages of having a court-appointed attorney is that you can hire an investigator to look into your case for free. Now, if the state had to be paying for these type of things and had to be, run up costs and stuff like that, they would stop throwing these indictments on people and trying to make them stick by scaring them with a plea deal. That was how I won, and I didn't know all this going in. I was advised by these things, by not only friends, but other people who that was going through the struggle as well. And you have to amalgamate all of these, all this information to try to make yourself more effective, and definitely try to help somebody else who's going to be getting this situation down the road, which is one of the things we're going to be doing for next year. Because I'm looking at trying to broaden Just Cause. So we're handling cases now, not just here, but like I'm going back to my home state, in Mississippi. We're handling issues there. There's a young lady named Michaela Murray, whose son Adarian was shot in the chest by a police officer named Greg Caper in Indianola, Mississippi. And this man still has not been arrested, hasn't been indicted, hasn't been charged with anything. Because according to them, since the victim was black, the cop was black, mayor's black, city officials were black, there was no racism involved. But see, the color that you're dealing with is blue. So we have a serious us against them issue we're dealing with. So
wait a second, Mr. Ruffin. Wait a second. Let me make sure I heard you correctly. So this all of this involved people that look like me, black people.
Right.
And
right.
So what are the people? Okay, 11-year-old boy, he was shot. Was he killed?
No, fortunately, he survived. But of course, that's the worst part. He's got to deal with this trauma the rest of his life.
Okay, so please wait. Okay, so please tell me that the people in that town are outraged.
They're outraged, but of course, the city officials, that's another story. They're juggling through the rigmarole of trying to go through the due process. Because police officers have a got a long term of leeway of having to get around certain things before anything even happens to them.
So have they given the baby counseling? At least the city's paying for counseling for the baby.
I don't believe they've done anything to that effect even now, because like I said, they still haven't even
Okay. Does she have an attorney? Does she have an attorney?
She has an attorney.
Okay, because I would love for her to come on the show and share what she can share, because this, again, just cause, once again, I'm telling you, now you just sound like you just making some stuff up here. So I got to talk to somebody that might be involved.
That's why I mentioned the name, so you can Google all this. Yeah, you Google
What's the name again?
Her name's Nakayla Murray, Nakala Murray, Murry, and the police officer's name is Greg Capert, and this is Indianola, Mississippi.
Greg Capert, and okay, you mean tell me an 11-year-old got shot, and the man is still there? I mean, he's still working on the force. Right. Was it okay?
Well, he's been suspended, but right now he's trying to get reinstated.
Okay, y'all. I don't want to keep talking about her situation from Mr. Ruffin. I understand it, but what I want to do is I would like to bring you and Nakayla on the show so we can see that this kind of corruption, y'all, it's affecting our children. This 11-year-old boy is traumatized the rest of his young life. Do you know he's terrified of police officers now? But the minute this boy becomes of age and he runs into or has an altercation with the police and he gets a flashback. Now, this is how mental health issues come about, people. Trauma. That baby has received some trauma at 11 years old, at a person with a badge and a uniform coming and shooting him in his chest. And now he fast forward and he is traumatized. And if they haven't been giving this baby counseling, woe unto them. It's so sad. And I think that not only should Mississippi be outraged, people in Dallas, Texas should be outraged, because you never know when it may be your child. I don't care how they try to make it sound like, well, they may have had domestic violence, they may have been to this house, so many. That matters not.
Right.
There's an 11-year-old baby that was shot. But on the other side, mothers, if you got this kind of stuff going on in your household, just know that this can fall on your children. So you better make sure. I got to ask her all of this stuff because I can't ask you. You wasn't there. But I'm just saying, that's still no excuse. But I just want y'all to see how this snowballs. Everything snowballs. And then, y'all, let me hurry up and talk about it. Now, all of that is, all this stuff that we're talking about, that's all falls under malicious prosecution, judicial processing failure, all of that. But I want to talk, and domestic violence is there, because that's a form of domestic violence by a police officer. To me, you came into my domain and you shot my baby. You were violent.
Well, yeah, that's one way you could put it. Another person who I'm reaching out to now is former chief of Fort Worth, Joel Fitzgerald, who he's now chief of I think the transit police in Denver. But he had the misfortune of losing his son, who was a police officer earlier this year, who was killed in the line of duty. And of course, we all know the story of what had happened with him when he was chief here. And one of those misfortunate things happened because of my son-in-law, the late Dacian Steptoe, who was involved in a lot of robberies and everything. And police officer Garrett Hull was killed in the line of duty. And I took it upon myself to reach out to the chief, to the city, and even to Officer Hull's family. I went to memorial service and embraced the father and apologized to him. Because we need to have reconciliation more than this hatred that we have.
Okay, so your stepson, so excuse me, your son was involved in the shooting?
Son-in-law.
Your son-in-law was involved in the shooting?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, and I don't talk about it a lot to a lot of people because nobody really truly understands the angle behind it. But the point, it's not even an angle. The point of the matter is, it's about the fact that, let's say I'm up here making a speech about something like that, and someone popped that up on me, and I never say anything about it. So that's why I believe in trying to have transparency and clarity. I'd rather tell you about it before someone try to surprise me.
Right. What? Hello, world.
Yeah.
Because
So
guess what? It's better for you to tell your story before you let the world tell it. Because one thing about a lie, it'll travel around the world 4 times before the truth can even get its shoes on.
Exactly. So that's why I took it upon myself to be the one that talked about it. And I've talked about it to the city council in Dallas just as much because we need to have some type of reconciliation. We have zero trust in our police department or in our court system.
It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately, it is.
Because these cowboy stunts these officers pull, you know, they always trying to emulate something on TV. You know, mine is like Hank Boyd. You know, everybody wants to write about everything all the time, taking matters in their own hand, lying about incident reports and everything like that, just for the bottom line to be, we got the bad guy.
Well, Chuck Connors is gone. Matt Dillon gone. What's the what was the one on the Gunsmoke? What was that one?
Marshall Dillon.
Yeah, all them gone, y'all. They don't, and the Lone Ranger show don't work out no more. Don't you go? You better you better have you several tontos.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been talking with Chief Fitzgerald,
mm-hmm.
and we're hoping to be trying to do some things next year to try to bring some reconciliation to our public, and and to our public at large. Because I mean, this type of hatred, this type of animus, this type of corruption is going to kill this country. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're going to get to a point. This may even end up. If we have another incident like what happened in Dallas with the cops getting shot, I can see troops. I can see National Guard running up and down these
martial law.
Things even work right. We're that close.
Mm.
And God only knows what may happen if nobody likes the results of this next election. What may happen later on.
Well, I tell you what, we don't want martial law. Y'all better understand, y'all. Okay, let's get y'all heads up. You heard it here first on the random issues on the reality code. Y'all better look up martial law and understand what you're getting into.
Exactly, because that's when you think civil liberties is out the window. You ain't seen nothing yet.
You better get your shades on.
Exactly. Focus.
There you go. Okay, now before so we're gonna try to. I would love to talk to that chief and have you and him do a candid conversation on the show so people can see that you are really trying to. You're not just because you are a just cause. Yep. You're really trying to do things to help bridge the gap between hurt, healing, help, and hope. We got some gaps there, and we need them to be bridged. So, and that's what the reality coach is about. Help, hope, healing, the hurt. That's what we're all about. But before we get off of that, so keep that in mind. Y'all put a comma there. We're going to get back to that, a semicolon comma. It may be a period or it may be a comma, but we're going to try to get them on here if we can. But let's talk about this next big new hot item on the market, sex trafficking. Y'all, there's a lot of funding getting ready to go into sex trafficking. Now, y'all, this one here, a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it's raw but real truth. And it put your shades on. It may be some truth you don't want to see, but you're getting ready to hear. Now, we're going to have to find a way to make these laws be able to definitely differentiate between what was prostitution and what is sex trafficking. Human trafficking. It's just not all about sex. Y'all look it up. There's so many levels to trafficking, human trafficking. It don't always have to be sex. It don't always have to be that. It could be somebody somebody go over here and make some shoes in a warehouse because they don't want to pay people, but they want to keep all the money. There's so much. Human trafficking involves slavery. That's all it is. But guess what, y'all? They've been doing human trafficking with the prison system.
Exactly. And one other thing is, like we've been watching on TV a lot lately, that, how people are getting brandished as sexual predators or rapists or whatever, behind just allegations, just like we've been following the Mel Tucker case. And then as a baseball player, I think his name was Trevor something, but anyway, he had gotten accused of assaulting his significant other, and now come to find out that she lied about everything. And we seeing people making, they talk about it all the time. They talk about how much money people are making, how much people are doing this, and then you got people out preying on these coaches or whoever that's making all this money.
Or girls getting mad. Or girls getting mad because men don't want her no more. Y'all, and I'm saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. My son is sitting in prison right now, wrongfully convicted. DNA clears him. Now, he's guilty of messing with escorts, prostitutes, whatever you want to talk about. But charging with prostitution, soliciting prostitution. But she needs to be charged too because she was engaging too. But that's the problem. They never said the real truth in the trial. They never said that these were sex workers, and not saying sex workers can't be raped, and not saying that young lady that got on the stand was not raped, but what we are saying, she was not raped by Draylen Patterson.
Exactly. And so people act as if evidence such as that cannot be manipulated, cannot be contaminated, compromised, and corrupted. It happens all the time. I mean, we have jails full of people who have gotten worse than this.
Well, where's the media? Where were they at? I kept calling them to come out and report the story. And then, Reg, you remember we were in court when I had my camera crew there. They told us it was only for media, and they didn't know I'm media. So I showed my credentials, and they're like, "Oh, okay." I step out, I come back in. My cameraman don't have his camera out anymore, and I'm looking like, what happened? Well, since Channel 4 was there with their camera, but everybody knows if there is a cameraman there and there's no reporter, that camera is not coming on. He just handles the camera. He can't, what he gonna film? He can't talk. He ain't doing no talking. He is a cameraman.
It wouldn't matter because I'm gonna tell you, I know this from experience. I did a commentary after a trial once before and talked about how utterly ridiculous it was. You're going to sit up here and allow a cop that ran over somebody and then try to cover up what he did. Ran over the guy with his car, then dragged him back at the intersection and then try to play it off like it was an accident or whatever, and that someone else, they found him that way. And that was the Brian Burton's case. That's what he picked up as well. And he ran over and killed Fred Bradford. And Mr. Bradford was, he survived long enough to tell what really happened to him. And then even after all that, Officer Burton still walked.
Wow. Yeah, we could go on.
I just tell a whole lot about it. Google it and see what I'm talking about.
We could go on and on and on about this corruption, whether it's the human trafficking issue, the judicial judicial process, the malicious prosecution, the what was the other one? There was another one on there that I had. Human trafficking.
Malicious prosecution. Of course, police misconduct. And then talking about reconciliation. I think that was basically what the agenda was.
We've covered a lot, y'all, but I'm gonna reach out to the people that Mr. Ruffin mentioned, because I would love for them to get on here and tell their story. But y'all, we got to get out of here. It's like 30 seconds before we got to go. Mr. Ruffin, as always, thank you. You 100. You my dude. I don't care what they say about you, and just like you don't care what they saying about me. Right. That part. That's some truth that you can take to the bank and get a check back.
Yeah, make sure I get my change.
That part. All right, Mr. Ruffin, be blessed, and we'll talk later.
Smooches.
Bye-bye.
There she go, there she go. The reality leaving truth, knowledge, wisdom. Shades on. There she go, there she go. The reality leaving truth,